Subject to credit qualification and CNH Industrial Capital Canada Ltd approval. Standard terms, conditions, and other restrictions apply. Down payment may be required.
The opinions expressed during this show do not represent those of this station. If you've missed any of this show, you can follow the podcast at energeticcity.ca. Now, an in-depth look at the news and information shaping our community. This is Moose Talks with your host, Doug Craig, on Moose FM.
Good morning. Welcome to Moose Talks. Today we're going to be talking with Art Jarvis in just a few minutes. He's the Northern representative for the Independent Contractors and Business Association and the owner of Flow-Right Environmental Systems. We're going to be chatting about the local energy industry and what Encana's decision to move from Calgary to Denver means for the local industry. That coming up in a bit. Starting the day, though, we've got David Steeves, who is the president of the Fort St. John Canadian Legion Branch 102. Hopefully I said that right.
You did.
Good morning, Mr. Steeves. Thanks so much
Morning.
for joining us.
Thank you.
So we're all wearing poppies this morning. A lot of people around town are. It's a yearly tradition. It's been going on for a long time. I apologize. I don't remember exactly how long off the bat, but it's something we kind of all do. And it got me to thinking about why we do it. I think we all have a general idea what the poppy signifies and where the money goes, but I thought we'd start with that. What is the purpose of the poppy campaign?
Well, the biggest thing of wearing the poppy is, of course, for remembrance of those ones that paid the ultimate sacrifice and who served.
Yeah. And I mean, you guys take donations to get a poppy, so I guess that's the bigger question for me is what happens with that money when you make a donation to wear a poppy in remembrance?
It all goes into, every branch has a trust fund, so the poppy fund, all the money goes into a trust for each branch,
I see.
which is distributed to, like, we're with BC Yukon Command,
I see.
so they have their Legion Foundation.
I see.
So we donate to that Legion Foundation.
Okay.
We help the local veterans, of course, as much as we can,
Okay.
and their families. Some of the national or the nationally programs for the Legion across Canada. I have a few of them here. Is Department of National Defence, the Veteran Affairs Canada, Royal Canadian Mounted Police, Canadian Armed Forces, Soldier On, Veterans Transition Network, Operational Stress Injury Social Support Program, the COPE program, which is for couples overcoming PTSD every day, Vets Canada, Wounded Warriors Canada.
I see. Okay.
The Legion Foundation BC, we donate to the Cockerel House, which is mainly for veterans who are homeless or underhoused. The Service Dogs, which is a new program they've come out with, the Service Dogs for vets to help cope from their transition back.
I see.
And the Legion Foundation
Okay.
of BC.
Okay. Now, you'd mentioned this, and I heard this from Tina, one of the salespeople who works here. She's a member of the Legion. I believe she serves on the board. She had said you guys help veterans in the community by taking some of the money from this campaign, from sort of other sources. How do you help the veterans exactly? Because, again, we all know they served. There's sort of this general idea of that veterans need help sometimes, whether it's with physical disability, PTSD, as you've already mentioned. What is that money going towards when you say we're helping veterans in the community? Like what sort of examples?
Locally, veterans, they served, and that's what the Poppy Fund is for. Is to help them transition back. Some have a hard time,
Okay.
or get in trouble, and that's where they're to provide assistance, even if it's just paying an electrical bill or something for them.
Okay, so it can be from they're getting out of the military or something, right? And then they're trying to essentially return to normal life, if we could put it that way.
Yeah.
So you'll help them maybe retrain. Is that kind of part of it?
Yeah, that's another one.
Okay, and as you said, help with a bill if they're short because they're between jobs or what have you.
Yeah.
Okay, that's very interesting. Is the money that we collect in this community from, say, the Poppy campaign redistributed solely in Fort St. John, or is it kind of go into a big pot, as you sort of mentioned some of those other...
So far this year, from the Poppy Fund, we've donated 10,000 in bursaries.
Wow.
So every year there's 5 bursaries every year we give away.
Okay. And those go to veterans in our community? Or
Veterans, like for high school when they graduate.
Oh, okay, I see.
So if they're a direct relative
Okay.
of a veteran, then they can apply for the bursary every year.
Oh, okay.
And on top of that, we've distributed 40,000 this year for vet related,
Wow.
which is local and BC Yukon Command.
I see. Okay. Those bursaries, are they for kind of any education that the student wants to use it for? Or if
Yeah.
they're okay. So it's just in general, here's money to
Yeah.
help pay for your education.
Exactly,
Wow, that's wonderful. I wanted to talk a bit about the services in Remembrance Day, for Remembrance Day, rather, here in Fort St. John on Monday. Can you give us a little rundown about what's going to happen and what we
Sure.
can expect?
Yeah, 10 o'clock is our parade, which gathers in front of the Legion. There's a detailed map, I believe, online
Oh, yeah.
of where it goes.
Yeah.
10 o'clock, then 11 o'clock is our service at the Cenotaph. And then in the hall, we have a service
Okay.
at 11. Usually wraps up by 12. And then I believe at 12:30 or 1 o'clock, we have free chili and buns for all the guests. Everybody's more than welcome to attend. The parade, everything, right? Then at 1 o'clock, we have our games from 1 till 4,
Okay.
which includes high and low dice. It's all for turkeys. So it's kind of a fun day.
Absolutely. So it kind of starts on sort of the somber-ish kind of note of it, and then it turns into more of a celebration
Exactly,
of remembrance. Okay, very interesting. The service, if you've never been to a Remembrance Day service before, maybe you're curious about it because, sometimes it's often on television. You can watch the one in Ottawa or the one in Victoria. What does the service look like? What are kind of the parts of it that you would see if you went to it?
The laying of the wreaths. We have our CMP, different groups that the cadets, different organizations that lay the wreaths, or any company that's sponsored a wreath. They have a representative bring it up to the front, and then we have a keynote speaker, of course.
Of course, I guess at 11 o'clock we'd pause for the moment to silence
Yeah,
and that
exactly.
referee. Okay, very interesting. All right, well, I think it's something that if you've never done before, the service, something definitely worth checking out. It's somber, but as you said, afterwards there's food, there's games. It sort of turns the corner and becomes more of a happier sort of celebration in general. And of course,
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. We have
Yeah.
horse races.
Oh, no
We're
kidding.
actually having a turkey shoot this year,
Okay,
and dice game, darts.
yeah, lots
So
of fun, kind of
so
for the
high
whole
score gets a
family.
turkey, and the chili and buns, and music.
And it's all, and as you said, it's all happening down at the Legion. Eh?
Yeah.
Okay.
So anybody would just be in that area of the Legion for 10 o'clock in the morning.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, as I said, make sure you wear a poppy, as it does help veterans in our community and veterans in general. And as you did say, it's raised a lot of money already so far, and there's still several days left in the campaign.
Yeah,
so,
we've donated to, like I said, to the service dogs,
Mm-hmm.
Legion Foundation, Cockrell House, all that, which is in BC,
Yeah,
and then locally as well, right? As much as we can.
absolutely.
But again, anybody can become a Legion member,
The-
help out, which we're always looking for.
Well, quickly, let's mention that. How do you become a Legion member if you were interested?
You can even apply online now. They've made it really simple.
Okay.
Yeah, there's no requirements anymore because it's all volunteer. Like everything we do is volunteer, so the more members we have, the more volunteers we can probably get and keep the Legion thriving, right?
Absolutely. Can you get more information or sign up if you happen to be at the Legion on Monday, or maybe you go
Yeah.
to the open mic night this Saturday night? You
Exactly,
can get
yeah.
information. Okay, that's
We
good
have
to know.
our application forms right at the door there as well.
Perfect. Very good to know. All right, Dave. Well, I really appreciate you stopping by to talk to us about this. Obviously, very worthy and, again, yearly sort of celebration of remembrance that we have. Thanks so much for stopping by to talk to us about it today.
You're welcome.
All right. Thanks again to Dave Steeves, the president of the Fort St. John Canadian Legion. We'll be back in just a minute with Art Jarvis right here on Moose Talks.
Crime Stoppers allows concerned community members to help the police solve crime. Your information, that small piece of the puzzle, can bring closure to many. By calling 1-800-222-8477, you are putting the spotlight and heat on the offender where it belongs. Your call is not recorded or traced. You remain anonymous while the offender doesn't. With your help, we are making the community a safer place to live. Call Crime Stoppers now at 1-800-222-8477 and let them know what you know about criminal activity.
Carter's Jewelers Better Than Black Friday sale features up to 50% savings throughout the store. Some of our Better Than Black Friday prices: quarter-carat diamond stud earrings, only $3.99. Half-carat diamond halo engagement rings, $12.79. 2-carat diamond tennis bracelets, $19.99. Bridal engagement sets under $1,000. A lot better than Black Friday prices. Carter's Jewelers, 9908 101st Avenue.
Winter's coming. Ernie Sports Experts has what you need with the brands you love and a free gift card. That's right. When you spend $250 or more on regular priced outerwear, get a free $50 gift card. Spend $500, get a free $100 gift card. Columbia, North Face, Burton, Arc'teryx, Helly Hansen, Orage, DC, Patagonia, Roxy. Get ready for winter and get a free gift card only at Ernie's.
Ernie's Sports Experts. Ernie's.
Did you know the traditional gift for a 20th anniversary is China? Well, this year marks Arctech Welding and Machining's 20th year in business. But China in a machine shop? I can just imagine. Not the best idea. We're celebrating this milestone thanks to loyal customers like Macro Industries, Enbridge Spectra, YRB, and Grimes Well Service, to name a few. From the team at Arctech, thank you. See our projects at arctech-welding.com. Arctech Welding and Machining. Fast, friendly, reliable.
As we head towards another winter season in the Peace, the crew at TNT Communications would like to remind drivers to be safe out there on the roads. Always be aware of the changing weather conditions, give other drivers space, reduce speed in work zones and bad weather, and remember to maintain proper weather-related equipment. Together, we can keep our roads and highways safe. This winter driving safety message from TNT Communications in Fort St. John, your bell source in the Peace.
Looking for new eyewear or sunglasses? Save time and money when you visit Merwin Optical. Select frames and sunglasses are half price while quantities last. Drop in and see new collections from Oakley, Ray-Ban, Red Bull, Calvin Klein, and others. And for the active kids, try Super Tough Nano frames. Receive free sight tests with the purchase of glasses. Sight tests for adults 19 to 64. All year long, save 50% off second sets. Perfect for getting your prescription sunglasses or computer glasses. Direct billing to most insurance plans. For all the latest in eyewear, see Merwin Optical.
Watch this show live on Facebook or download the podcast at energeticcity.ca.
All right, we're back on Moose Talks. I'm Dub Craig. Our thanks again to David Steves, the president of the Fort St. John Canadian Legion, for stopping by to talk a bit about the Remembrance Day ceremonies and the Poppy fundraiser. There's the word I'm looking for. If you want more information, there's a couple stories we wrote about it over on energeticcity.ca. Just surf over there and check that out. Now we're joined by Art Jarvis, the Northern representative for the Independent Contractors and Businesses Association and the owner of Flowright Environmental Systems. How's it going this morning, Art?
Very good, thank you.
It's like we know each other. I'm going to call you by your last name now or something. So, Art, I thought I'd have you in to talk a bit about the energy industry. As you know, Encana announced last week that they're moving their head office from Calgary to, as it turns out, Denver, because I suppose the CEO is from there. But the former CEO, Gwyn Morgan, said in an op-ed that the move was due to, quote, the Trudeau government's toxic policies towards what has long been Canada's most economically important industry, end quote. He also added that the Liberals have, quote, transformed Canada's oil and gas business climate from positive to pariah. Is this a matter of concern for the local industry in your view?
Well, this is a big deal. Encana was designed as Energy Canada to be the largest, strongest oil and gas company headquartered in Canada. So Gwyn Morgan, the founder and former CEO, believes that Canadian government has debilitated the industry. And Encana has decided to unshackle themselves from Canadian negativity. When a company this size approves a decision of this magnitude, there is no going back. I believe this is a continuing trend for producers and service companies to head south across the border or elect to downsize or close their doors.
Do you think it's possible we're making a bigger deal of this because it's a Canadian company that was Energy Canada and it's sort of like a symbolic cutting of ties to Canada?
I think we should make a big deal of it.
Yeah.
You know, certainly us Canadians need to make a statement to the government about how it impacts Canada, not just Western Canada, but all of Canada.
Absolutely. What do you think this ultimately means for the local energy industry?
They claim there will not be any changes to the local operations, but we won't know the full impact to this region until spring of 2020.
Yeah, because I think the current CEO did say he doesn't expect there to be job losses. So I guess it's now is what he means, right? It may change in the future depending on what happens. In your view, what do the provincial and federal governments need to do to keep companies like in Canada?
Both provincial and federal governments need to create incentives for responsible resource development and stop creating roadblocks and regulatory obstacles. Alberta government intends to implement tax cuts to stimulate job creation. BC government has displayed numerous times how anti-resource development the provincial NDP and Greens are. Ottawa has sent a clear message how they interfere with advancement of responsible resource projects, such as killing Northern Gateway. And $1 billion of investment has left Canada in the last 2 years. Canada also ranks the second slowest out of 35 countries in time to obtain a permit for a general construction permit.
Okay. Do you think then, given that there was an enormous regime change in Alberta this year, and that because the government there is, at least in theory, more open to business or open for business in their energy industry, that it will help this energy industry in the piece, given our proximity to Alberta?
What was that again? Sorry.
Do you think that because of the United Conservative Party taking government in Alberta and they're sort of changing policies to try to attract more business to Alberta, do you think it'll have a positive impact on BC given our proximity?
They're going to look after Alberta first, of course.
Of course, yeah.
And we're fortunate enough to sit on the best natural gas reserve in North America, so right here below the Peace region. So, you know, that protects us. That gives us a bit of an umbrella where, you know, we're not guaranteed anything, but
sure,
there's a very positive chance that it's going to continue development around here, but at a slower pace.
Yeah.
I truly believe if the Conservatives would have got in federally, we would see a slow ramp up. But right now, with the government staying the way it is, I don't see any reason for us to think that there's going to be an increase at all.
Okay. Well, I mean, I guess that begs the next question. How do you think the winter is looking for the local industry? And when do you think we'll start to see the effects of, say, a project like LNG Canada, which is supposed to be an enormous boon for the industry here? When do you think we'll see the effects of that in the piece?
Well, other than pipeline and ground prep crews, there will be minor activity regarding LNG Canada this winter. The pipe should be here in 2020 and in the ditch and welded up by 2022. Once the pipeline and LNG trains are complete, we will experience continued production and maintenance employment. Right now, drilling rig count is around 30% of what it was in 2014. And financial institutions are extremely opposed to assist oil and gas producers and service companies with Canadian projects.
Okay. So I guess that means, like, is it going to kind of ramp up until the pipeline's kind of done? Is that the idea? Because obviously jobs are going to be generated just by the construction part of it, right? Before, you know, everything's kind of open and moving, right?
I don't see a ramp up in this region.
Yeah.
You know, across the province to the coast, there's going to be activity, and you know, they have to clear right-of-ways and dig ditch, and there'll be people employed to do that, which has already been ramping up. So as for this area, this is where the natural gas is going to be produced. So there's no real demand for it until, of course, the LNG trains are complete and the pipeline is connected. And in that case, then there'll be ongoing maintenance and productivity.
All right, so we're still kind of, as you said, I think you said 2022 for the, so we're still kind of a couple of years out until things ramp up in the production and the kind of extraction of it, I suppose, is what we take from that.
True.
Yeah, okay. All right, Art, well, I appreciate you coming by to tell us a bit about this and what our, maybe temper our expectations a bit, because I know lots of people in town are like, oh, what's going to happen? When's it going to happen? And this sort of tells us, well, we might still be a few years out, but things looking up anyway, I'd say, hey?
Well, the future certainly is bright. What that window is, it's hard to say because, of course, there could be another election.
There very well
too, so
could be.
that may change things.
An election here and on the federal level, so... All right, Arvis, pardon me, Art.
That is a difficult name, isn't it?
Apparently. I really appreciate you coming by to chat with us about this today.
Okay, thank you very much for your time.
All right, we'll be right back on Moose Talks right after this.
The BC Winter Games, the biggest multi-sport event in the province, will be happening here in Fort St. John in February of 2020. There will be 1,800 participants in 15 different sports. The Friends of the Games are out gathering support from the community to make these games amazing. If your business or organization wants to get involved, please contact us at friendsofthegames@bcwintergames.ca.
Jandel Homes pricing is going up.
You could pay up to $12,000 more for your Jandel home just by waiting until 2020.
Or you could not pay more by taking advantage of Jandel Homes 2019 pricing today. Prices are going up by 3 to 5%, but you can avoid the increase with Jandel Homes Price Protection Program. Just order your new Jandel home today for spring delivery to lock in 2019 pricing. But hurry, this offer is only available until November 30th.
If you're looking for hassle-free internet services, call the Peace Region Internet Society today. With coverage throughout most of the Peace, PRIS can get you connected quickly without the hassle of contracts or bundles. Visit PRIS.ca or call 1-800-768-3311 for more information.
Our community first. This is Moose Talks with Dub Craig on Moose FM.
All right, we're back on Moose Talks. Our thanks again to Art Jarvis, the Northern representative for the Independent Contractors and Businesses Association, and the owner of Flowrite Environmental Systems for stopping by. And again, David Steeves, the president of the Fort St. John Canadian Legion, stopped by earlier today to talk about the Poppy campaign. Poppy's available all over the place in town. Make sure you get one. It does help out local veterans, as David said, in transitioning. If they need a bill paid, they'll help them out that way. From what I've heard, if you reach out, if you know a veteran, if your grandfather, your uncle, if your husband, if you are a veteran and if you're in need, reach out to the Legion. They will work with you to try to figure out a solution to help you out. It's wonderful, wonderful news. If you want to know more about the Remembrance Day ceremonies, you can, of course, again, go to energeticcity.ca. They've written a couple stories up there. I believe Serena also wrote a blog about it over on moosefm.ca. There's some information there. If you're in Taylor, if you're in Hudson Soap, if you're in Chetwynd, if you're in Dawson Creek, they've also all got ceremonies set up and ready to go. Just follow their city websites to find out more about that. That does it for Moose Talks this week. The producer of the show is Tracy Teves. Studio production by Serena Deschner. I'm Dub Craig. Keep being awesome.
Join us next Friday at 10 a.m. for another episode of Moose Talks, a weekly talk show about Fort St. John and the North Peace.